So the other questions are what we have shared is about in about you is the toughest decision you had to make, boring job, how do you feel about working nights, are you willing to relocate or travel. Now these are things which are basically your job preferences, right? Now this is where it gets a little tricky in the sense that if sometimes if you mention that, oh, I only want jobs which have weekends off, or I only want which have hybrid options, or I only have these 4 cities in mind, then if they, it's a little bit of a clear cut in terms of ये नहीं दे सकते तो आपको नहीं लेंगे. If you know that beforehand, and if you're okay to let go of some things because of certain reasons, that you have some constraint because of which you cannot move to any other city or something like that, then you do it. Otherwise, you need to be a little bit open if you're okay being flexible. Now, this is your personal choice, right? So, again, no right, wrong way to answer it. But suppose you're someone who has not made up your mind, then don't say कि यही करना है या वही करना है. Okay, you can say that I prefer where I can have more work-life balance. I would prefer to be in cities which I know, or metro cities or tier 1 or something like that. Like for example, Unilever gives you first 1 year, 2 year is rural posting, right, for sales marketing job. So वो तो आपको पता है. So anyway, you can't argue against. And also, if you argue, then you're sort of questioning their logic, right? Or like a Vedanta gives you, if you're from north, they give you in south posting, जानबूझ के, so that you work with people you are uncomfortable with. So उसमें you can't question. So research the company beforehand. I think ITC also does something like that. I'm not very sure, but it does something like that. Okay, so then you research that. Then they're just asking just to mess around. So that time you can say, I'm as of now pretty flexible enough right now. I'm just starting my career, or I don't have much responsibilities that are tying me down to a particular place, or I don't have too much of dependence or something like that. Then I'm okay to experimenting with that. Somebody I know had asked this in some other thing about basically, some woman had said that some cities or some places, the safety wise I am concerned about, and which was a valid answer to give. There was no issue in that, and she just said that if I know that the company already has some women working in that area, or if there is some sort of a support available from the company, I'm sure I can make it work. So it was a very normal answer to give because it was for an ASM job only, area sales manager job in somewhere in UP or something like that. So it was a reasonable answer, a reasonable fear in that sense. And he said, if I know that somebody has worked before or something, I'm okay. And she had said that this is something which I actually care about, right? So I would not take a job just because I need it. Somebody had mentioned about a Nexalite posting as well. So they said, but if the company is ready to support, then I'm okay. Otherwise, I would be concerned. And it's okay. You have to first ensure your own safety in that sense. And you cannot put the responsibility in the company also. But for example, the Nexalite posting, not Nexalite posting rather, the posting was in one of these areas in the east. And they had said that, but somebody has worked there before, or you have an office set up there and you have some rules, or you provide an accommodation or a guest house or something like that, then I don't see a reason why it can't work out. So it worked well. They were okay with that because the company was anyway providing. Okay, so these are those sort of things. Tell me about the most boring job you've ever had. Now, one is that this could probably, if they ask you if you're a fresher or only one job something, what they're trying to say is again what things don't work for you. So they could ask this in terms of, tell me something that generally bores you about work, or something that you don't find interesting, or something that you would feel this is beneath me. They could ask you that also, or something that you feel is not what I was looking at. What if I think I know someone who had asked this question, that what do you think the first year of your job would look like? They asked the interviewee, so that they know what they wanted, sort of thing. And the interviewee had these things sort of say that I'm managing something and sitting in this and strategy वो बहुत सारा strategy कर रहे थे. They said ये तो 5 साल तक नहीं होने वाला है. You will probably not even be in the same room as somebody discussing a strategy for 5 years. So then what? Then तो नहीं लोगे नौकरी. So that sort of thing. So this is something where you have to figure out. Let's say you may say something like maybe, so either if you have a boring job, it's okay, but be careful not to mention personal level pe shikayatein, nothing which is discomfort. You can mention the job was boring, you can mention the work was very tedious, it was monotonous, it was not adding to my growth, all that is okay. But do not say people were horrible and that sort of thing. Because sometimes they may ask you that also. They could ask you in those terms also. They're trying to figure out what works for you and what doesn't. And do you have a realistic picture of the profile that you are getting into? So that is why, and that is what the reason you're giving. So that is up to you. And again, you can't really go wrong. This is not a question for elimination. Also, they may just correct you.
So, ma'am, just two things here. You said beneath me. I mean, is it safe to say that something is?
नहीं मत बोलिए.
Nothing is beneath you.
Yeah, exactly. बिल्कुल मत बोलिए. Saying that is what they may ask you to provoke you.
Figure out. Figure out.
No, you can't say something is beneath.
Exactly, because I mean, to what I understand, nothing is beneath you, right? Because it's all learning in one form or the other.
Yeah, absolutely.
Correct.
To provoke you, they may ask these things.
Right.
So you can say that nothing beneath me, I'm learning, I'm something like that. But you can still, there could still be something that bores you.
Of course, boring
that
is
separate. Boring is different.
Correct.
This could be a follow-up question to one of the strengths or weakness also. For example, if somebody says they are very creative, very innovative, anybody in the whole world who's very creative, who are very imaginative, very innovative, will be someone who will be bored by repetitive or routine tasks. They can't stay focused on one thing. And it's okay. We slot them for different purpose in that sense. Or if somebody says they're very detail-oriented, very research-oriented, very focused, then they will be okay with staying with routine things only. They will not like things changing too much.
Right.
Even if it is an office space. Right. So it could work as a follow-up also. But no, it's just to provoke you that what do you think is beneath you or ye hum nahi karenge sort of.
Right. And another thing that we need to keep in mind is we never misrepresent or say anything poor about the organization or anybody we are associated with when we are doing this.
And this is a question somewhere else also it is there, but since we are talking about it, it's not that, again, we are not lying about things are all great or something. Suppose you genuinely had an issue or something, make it, each time please be diplomatic, okay? Because this is not the right forum to open up your sorrows about. So it's like this, okay? I'll tell you. Suppose you had some incident where you were bullied or where the culture was such where stuff was not happening right with you. It didn't meet your values or ethics or something like that. You can mention in that sense that, basically my values didn't match with them or my what I thought about how people should be treated did not match or something like that you can mention. Now, isme problem is you are giving them an invitation to ask more about it. You can say that I think what is in the past is in the past and I have learned something from it, but that kind of thing is not for me. So I have realized this is what is my sense of ethics and what is I look forward in companies or something like that.
Right.
But never ever say anything bad about a specific person or specific company. Even if they know from their CV that you are mentioning your organization, that's a different thing.
Right.
There are two reasons. One is a very obvious reason, but it's actually a very small world. कहीं भी भाग जाओ दुनिया में, it's a very small world. Okay, they may know each other or they may just use you to get. You don't know what's going on other side. Okay? And the second is it shows that you remember the person and not the conflict. So you are not risen above the conflict. Let's say. And if you're talking bad about A, that means you'll talk bad about B. So you'll talk bad about me also to the next person.
Of course.
Right? So that way, don't say those things. So be smart about it.
And another thing is because the organization is separate from the incident.
Correct.
So you don't have that sort of an attitude where you're not able to compartmentalize.
Correct. And
as a manager, I should be able to compartmentalize these too.
Correct. You have to be compartmentalized and adding to this thing. Solve hope, as in you have removed yourself from the situation. So technically, your problem solved ho gaya, right? So then, what is the point in talking about it? You discuss in therapy, discuss in friends, not in the interview. That is also not being naive or juvenile. That's showing maturity. Ho gaya. This is what I have learned from it. It could be asked in a different way of why did you leave the organization. You can say that there was some incompatibility, disconnect, something negative that happened, but I decided, which is why I decided to move on to better things. That's okay to say.
Yeah.
So are you willing to relocate, travel, working nights, weekends? As I said, these are preferences for your job related things and you can be honest. Usme koi problem nahi hai. Just try not to come off as extremely rigid or something like that. But if you have some genuine constraints, I would suggest talk to Playcom before. If you know that this is a job that requires a lot of travel, whatever is the institute's policy on this, I would suggest you answer that. So that for that it doesn't become an issue. Because sometimes if you're too honest, but you still land up there, then the company may ask the Playcom कि फिर इनको क्यों बिठाया, something like that. So that way check it. So there is ऐसा grey, black and white नहीं है that either सच बोलो या झूठ बोलो. You can just be diplomatic about it. And if you've not given it a thought, then just say I'm willing to do this. Safety अगर कोई issue अगर हो. You've been with your firm a long time. Hard switching to a new company. Contact your okay. So these are more for people. I don't think it doesn't sit right with you. But again, if you were to edit it for our students, it would be mainly you could still be asked, why did you switch from a job to an MBA? Okay, or it could be asked to a fresher that there are so many people who know more than you. Why should we hire you? Or it could be asked, suppose somebody has switched some specialization, what they were working as a before MBA and now they are working in something else. Working in finance now into marketing, something like that. So anyway, there is a switch, any changes. Okay. So